So we are having some conversations on the topic of prayer. And Jonathan, one of the things that people can be confused about in terms of prayer is, how do you define it? You know,
like, how do you pray? What is prayer? That's a great question. I mean, and again, one of those ones that no one really wants to ask because we should know this.
Well, and when you think about a lot of people who come from various, religious backgrounds that we know and see, it can be confusing.
Yeah. So they know what prayer looks like when someone's doing it, right? They don't know what it is.
Right.
And so basically, and again, this may be oversimplifying things. I like simple. I can understand simple. Complex, I struggle with. But prayer is a conversation. It's talking to God, period. That's it. Mm-hmm. And I think when we try to add too much to it, we complicate it, we muddy it up, it becomes unclear, and anything that's unclear, we kind of avoid. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons people avoid prayer is they don't realize it's just you talking to God. And that could be weird. I can't see God. Talking to someone I can't see, right. Yes, I understand that. And it is odd.
Yeah.
It just is. And I think we're crazy if we don't admit it's a little odd.
Yeah.
But yet that's what it is.
So knowing that prayer is a conversation with God, what would you suggest people talk to God about?
Oh, talk to God about anything that's going on in your life. And it could be good. And if you're talking to God about good things, then prayer becomes more of thanksgiving, thanking God, being grateful for your blessings. If something bad's going on and you're in pain, then it becomes, God, I'm in need.
Right.
I'm hurting. I need help. It's just sharing with God what you would share with your closest friend, whether it would be good or bad, or whether you're not quite sure how to put it into words.
Now, is there a special place or time that you would say people should pray?
Oh, yeah. That's great, because people are like, well, I need to go to church to pray. Well, you don't need to go to a church to pray. Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to pray. But you can pray anywhere. Mm-hmm. No special place, no special time. So any place, any time, for any reason. And there's no special, physical postures. You don't have to be on your knees. Nothing wrong with that. That's a very humbling position to be. Right. You don't have to fold your hands.
It can be in your car while you're driving.
Right. So don't close your eyes. Don't close. Right. Because people say we're going to close our eyes and pray, and that's all about minimizing distractions. Yeah. It's not a bad thing to do. It may be a good thing to do, but it's not mandatory that you be in a certain posture position, to pray. It should be much more natural than that.
Absolutely. I always encourage people, find a time to pray when you feel like you're in a good place mentally, and where you're not exhausted and your brain's not tired, or you're not, you're just in a place where you're kind of open and you're ready for that conversation, right?
Yeah, and it should be very natural.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be as natural as just expressing to God your thoughts, your feelings, your concerns, your needs, wherever, whenever, for whatever reason.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about this ongoing conversation that you feel like is what makes prayer powerful.
Yeah, well, there's a specific part in the New Testament where the Apostle Paul is writing to a group of Christians in the first century, and he talks about this concept of praying without ceasing. Now, obviously, he's not saying you don't ever stop praying as far as you just never talk to anybody else, only talk to God. Yeah. That's an over-exaggeration. The concept is we should be in an ongoing conversation with God that never ends. That's always like ... and another thing and another thing, so that means there's nothing wrong with a special time of prayer.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna pray for 15 minutes or whatever for 5 minutes, but prayer is like this ongoing thing. And I heard you the other day give an illustration of what you think it's like.
Yeah.
And you were saying,
yeah. So, dude, to me, it's like this. It's this rolling text that I have with my wife where we're constantly talking about everything from I love you to, hey, pick this up at the grocery store to how's your day going, those types of things. And to me, prayer is just that rolling text conversation that I have with God.
Yeah, and if you could take a moment and go back, you could scroll all the way back, weeks even, like wow. And it went like you talked about the kids, talked about the food, talked about the movie, you talked about her, talked about you. And so I think that is spot on. I think people can relate to that. So prayer is like an ongoing text with God. And so if we understand it that simply, I think the clarity would come to us, and the awkwardness would begin to go away, and we would embrace prayer more.